Let's take a look at the next piece. This is tutorial 5, designing for the mobile web. And I realized I spoke too soon last time when I said I'd actually focus just on showing this to you. Since we're developing for like a cell phone, devices like that, I can't really show that. But next time we'll get into next time we cover tutorial 6, that gets back to the point where I can actually create something in Notepad and show you type of deal. Objectives here: create a media query, work with the browser viewport, apply a responsive design, create a pull-down menu with CSS, create a Flexbox, work with flex sizes, explore Flexbox layouts, create a print style sheet, work with page sizes, and add and remove page breaks. Now, when you're designing for your mobile and desktop devices, but mainly just for something that's not a laptop or desktop, so forth, you have to consider a lot of different items. For example, on page content, if you got your cell phone, your content should be short and to the point. Compared to desktop, your laptop and your actual desktop, content can be extensive, giving readers opportunity to explore all facets of the topic. Why is that important? Why should it be short and to the point? Go ahead. Gets the message across. Why do you use your phones? It's quick. You know, you don't want to boot up a computer. You don't want to run over that computer. You don't want to sign on or whatever. You just want to pull your phone out, immediately look it up, right? Now, for a desktop, laptop, the idea there is you sit there for a while, read it for hours on end, and so forth. Does anybody sit there and read their cell phones for hours on end on one topic? See, one person yes, one person no. Probably depends upon the person, right? I can't. My phone starts dying. You know, it's the battery on it. So yeah, that's one of the things you have to consider. Page layout. For the cell phone and mobile devices, content should be laid out within a single column with no horizontal scrolling. What happens if you have to horizontal scroll? Unless you're forced to go to that website, would you go to it? Maybe initially, but pretty soon when you're going flipping back and forth, you're not going to do that very long, are you? So you give that up. So again, your design shouldn't be such that they have to keep going back and forth on that. Desktop, though, wider screen sizes, content can be easily laid out in multiple columns. Hypertext links. For your cell phone and so forth, links need to be easily accessed via a touch interface. For a desktop, links can be activated more precisely using a cursor or mouse pointer. Is there anything else you have to consider with hypertext links? What are you going to? What was that? I was on the other day. I finally got it working, but I had to install. I didn't know there was a Microsoft Excel for your phone. Everybody know there was that? Is it free or is it just because I was signed in Cali that I? Yeah. I was trying to click on a link because I wanted to be able to access it a spreadsheet when I was away from my desktop, and I've been afraid to use it ever since because it's so small. I'm afraid I'll screw up the date. I won't be able to undo it. But yeah, you know, if it's a link to something like that, there's some things you can assume are installed on a desktop, laptop, but not everybody has a Microsoft Excel on their phones, do they? So have to consider those things. Isn't PDF becoming pretty standard now on phones? Does anybody know? No? Oh, okay. I got it on my phone. I wonder why.
You can read them, but they're not popular.
Oh, they're not popular. Oh, okay. And probably the same reason is you have to either make it really small where you can't see it, or you have to scroll back and forth because it doesn't adjust for it. Network bandwidth. Sites tend to take longer to load over cellular phones, cellular networks, and thus overall file size should be kept small. Desktop sites are quickly accessed over high-speed networks, which can more easily handle large file sizes. That's probably changing, though, isn't it? What's the newest G that's out? Is it 5G? Does anybody know for the phones?
Yeah, I think so.
Is it 5G? They start evolving that 6G, 7G, so forth, and you probably won't have those issues. Lighting. Pages need to be easily visible in outdoor lighting through use of contrasting colors. A lot of people access their phones outside, don't they? Do you normally carry your laptop around with you outside? No. Definitely don't carry your desktop, right? Where would you plug it in at? Device tools. Mobile sites often need access to devices such as phone dialing, messaging, mapping, built-in cameras, and video. Desktop sites rarely have need to access desktop devices. Now, these are three primary components of responsive design theory identified by Ethan Marcotte. Flexible layout. So page layout automatically adjusts the screens at different widths. Now, this is a nightmare in designing apps. In the Android app development class, we're using Android Studio, and what you do is you base it upon, and we'll talk more about this later in this PowerPoint, but you base upon your inputs, where you're going to input a number maybe, or your button's going to be, based upon the distance from the side. Maybe you say it's going to be this distance from the left side and this distance from the top. So then, and then the other ones are based upon it. Like the button is going to be like 15 below, 5 to the right type of deal. And then what you find is that when you go to other devices, whether you've got a tablet, a cell phone, or whatever, it will automatically somewhat look good. That's the idea, but it's a nightmare. We end up using a button that's infer constraints, where it does all that for you based upon the positions on the screen. Whenever I don't use infer constraints and try to set up the constraints manually, it never looks good. So I can't get that, wrap my mind around it. This is a lot different than your standard programming, where you decide that it's going to be exactly in this position, this position, this position, this position. Because you know everybody's at least got an 800 by 600 screen. You should have responsive images that rescale based on the size of the viewing device. Again, same issue. Somebody in the Android Studio class yesterday got their emulator stuck on the newest Android that's out. I can't even tell you what it is. Anybody know? Oreo?
It's Oreo.
Is it Oreo? They got it somehow stuck on the newest one, and it looked horrible. It was really small, and we had to finally shut it down and bring it back up for it to look decent. So yeah, a lot of things to consider on that. Media queries. By the way, do you got many websites that look fine on one device but look bad on another? No, so they kind of all look good on. That's the idea behind this: is you follow these guidelines, and your website will look good. Media queries that determine the properties of the device rendering page so the appropriate designs can be delivered to specific devices. So your page will dynamically try to determine what it's on, and based upon that, deliver the best option. Go to cali.edu and I view page source. And I couldn't tell you what this script's doing exactly. I could guess. I'd have to do some digging. What do you think that's doing right there? Making it compatible by redirecting you. So this up here is checking to see if you have an iPhone, if you have an iPad, you have an iPod, you have an Android, you have a BlackBerry, you have a Mini, whatever that is. I wouldn't think that's a Mac Mini. I'm not sure what that is. Windows, CE. Do you even have Windows CE anymore? I had one on a little Tornado HP Tornado I had. Had a little Windows CE, SCE, Nokia, Mid-P, Windows CE. Windows CE, that sounds familiar. They have that twice. Palm Pilot, I'm assuming. I.Test. Oh, that's the next line. Okay. So then it's checking to see if it's mobile, then it's changing the document location. So when a person comes here, if you got one of those other devices, it'll go here. It probably looks familiar, right? That's what it looks like when you go to Kali on your phone. So it's automatically redirected. Is that all the possibilities that exist? Isn't there like a iTV or Apple TV or something like that? Samsung TV? Is it? Yeah, there's a lot of different options, right? I got a smart TV at home. I went to the browser the other day, and I wasn't impressed with some of the sites I went to. So they obviously weren't programmed for that smart TV, were they? How about PS4, PS3? What operating system's on a PS4? Let me know. I thought it used to be Linux, but I may be confusing that with another. Nobody's like hacked into their PS3 or PS4. The what? Well, I've had people in the past do it. I don't remember. It might have been Xbox. I don't know. Cell OS, fork of FreeBSD. That's the devil's operating system. I think it is. Anybody ever hear FreeBSD? There's a little devil mascot they had. It's pretty funny because the person that came up with it, I don't know, he had some logo on it, and he was traveling some small town, and guy came up to him and said, "We don't appreciate having Satan on your." It was just a mascot, but yeah, it's FreeBSD. So if you know about this, you can hack into it, can't you? I've had students that said they've done it. I never have done it. I'm probably not smart enough to hack into PlayStation 3. Not to mention, I don't want to screw up my PlayStation 3. It's probably more important. Okay, it looks like PS4 runs Orbis OS, a modified version of FreeBSD that's similar to Linux. Here's how you hack into it, to a PS4.
Wasn't it on the PS3 when somebody hacked it? They lost all their information. A lot of people lost their information.
Oh, did
They
it?
didn't even know about it because Sony didn't mention it to them.
Oh. Yeah, I don't. Like I said, I don't want to buy a new PS3 or PS4, so I don't even try this stuff.
Did you ever figure out that Call of Duty game that you wanted to play?
Um. Oh, you mean no, I haven't. But I haven't played that game since the start of the semester. I don't think. The Call of Duty one I like.
Did you say Black Ops 3?
I couldn't even tell you which one it is. I never pay that much attention when I turn it on. That's just, because I multitask. Like I'll be sitting there working on the computer, and I'll turn on my PS3, and then I'll look up. It's like it's ready to play, so then I'll play, and I haven't done it for a while. Yeah, here's a little mascot. So FreeBSD isn't that popular anymore, but obviously they are. It is in PlayStation land. But again, that wasn't on the list, was it? So probably Kali looks pretty bad, unless if you got PS3 or PS4, it defaults to one of these other ones. So that could be. The what? And see what it looks like. Do they care though for a web design? No. Who's going to be trying to go to research Kali under PS4, right? So they don't care about that. These are the ones that, and some of these are probably just holdovers. Sometimes they check for browsers. You see, you got an if statement down here. I thought LT was less than, but maybe that makes sense. If you got, if your version maybe is less than IE9, then it's going to do this bit of code right here. Here's IE8 support. Okay, so if it's less than IE9. So again, you have a lot of things to consider when you're designing. And the idea is to have responsive design, have it come back fast, have it come back with meaningful information, and look good, halfway good. Won't look perfect. What don't you like about Kali's design for phones? Like you come here, what do you not really like? Yeah, I'm sitting there. I'm blind, but I don't need it this big, and that's what they figured design was. Is just like, well, let's just make it so the blindest person in the world can sit there and click the buttons, I guess. Okay. Introducing media queries. Media queries are used to associate a style sheet or a style rule with a specific device or list of device features. To create a I think I shared my screen. Nobody said anything. Okay, introducing media queries. Media queries are used to associate a style sheet or style rule with a specific device or list of device features. To create a media query within an HTML file, add the following media attribute to either the link or style element in the document head. So you got your media equals your devices. Where devices is a comma-separated list of supported media types associated with a specified style sheet. Now, this right here was just redirected from our main page if you got a tablet or tablet, a phone, or something of some sort. View page source. Probably somewhere in here they maybe break it down further. And I haven't really looked at this very much, so I couldn't tell you maybe which ones. Here's something specific to cell phones, right? Telephone. What will happen to that link if you click it on your desktop computer? Did we try that when we were covering that before? No. Let's see. We'll copy that. Slash body slash HTML. Let's see, phone it. I'll go ahead and open an IE or Edge, whatever this is. So I click this phone number. It's coming up looking for an app, doesn't it? What app do I choose? Nobody knows? Your knowledge on computers, what you know already. What percent of the population you're above knowledge-wise? 60, 70%? Probably at least, right? So here, if we put this on our regular web page, will they know how to handle that? No, they won't know how to handle that, will they? They won't know which app. I don't know which app. There probably isn't an app to call from your phone because you'd have to have some kind of service out there, right? Or a call from your computer, I mean. So yeah, when you're designing, you have to design it for your target platform, whatever that might be. I'm seeing media there. Okay. Here's some of your media types. All output devices, the default. Braille. I have no clue what that is. They do have Braille printers, such that if you have a Word document, you can print it and prints in Braille. embossed, page braille printers, handheld mobile devices with small screens, limited bandwidth, printers, projectors, computer screens, speech and sound synthesizers. What in the world's that? Fact or fiction? Blueberry, that's media type. I never heard of a browser specifically for that. See, JAWS is a screen reader. It's not a browser. It works in conjunction with your browser, or used to. I've never have used NVDA. Narrator, never have used. I've just used JAWS, I guess. Fixed width devices such as teletype machines, terminals, TV, television type devices, low resolution color, and limited scrollability. Do they all have low resolution now? I don't know. Not like they used to. I bought a smart smart TVs. Uses my monitor at home. Big, huge monitor. And I obviously didn't plan well because some stuff comes up slow on it. So I decided I didn't want it anymore. I put it out in our living room. My family's not really happy with it because it looks too realistic. It's high definition. The 4K, so forth. It's we've been just you're not used to it. For 20 years we've been using this old huge anchor weight, and the quality of it wasn't that great watching TV, but we actually broke it carrying it out of the house last weekend. It was so huge. I was having my son help me carry it, and he got tired, and we set it down on door stop, and it fell over. So now it's sitting in my truck. Be sitting in my truck for the next 2 or 3 years. Yeah, we'll have to figure out how to get rid of it without paying. The app media rule. Media queries can be used to associate specific style types with specific devices using the following. So this is, again, if you want certain styles only to be applied for certain items, then you do that. You think most people program their websites for Braille? No. There's a website I bet that does. But let's see. I'll be just very disappointed if they don't. Envision out of Wichita. I think about all they have on their floor is visually impaired people. No Braille. Maybe it's in one of their separate CSS files, though. Or maybe it's not used by anybody. Because I think if Envision doesn't do it, then nobody would do it. Um, Responsive slides. By the way, you can just click on it here, and it brings up the CSS so you can see what they're doing. And I'm not seeing anything there. This is the best way to go and steal information. So if you like what somebody's doing, then just go out there and grab it. Okay, here's media. Only screen and minimum width is this. Maximum width is this, and minimum width is. Here's an example where they're checking different items. This is when your screen size is 1024 to 1650 in terms of the width. Why would they care? Yeah, because not everybody's blind, are they? Some people just have trouble seeing. So, yeah, so they're real concerned that if you got a big monitor, maybe means you can't see. So they'll try to adjust it accordingly. That's why I have a big monitor. My eyes aren't very good. Media queries and device features. To target a device based on its features, add the attribute and its value to the media attribute using the syntax. Feature : value. Aspect ratio, color index, aspect ratio, device height, device width, height, monochrome, orientation, resolution, width. All different features you can work with. Mobile first principle. By the way, some of you heard me complain about this yesterday. You notice what has happened to PowerPoint? I don't know what I've done to cause that. I need to figure that out this weekend. It's like everything's turning so small I can't see it. I think it has to do with the sharing of the screens, but I'm not sure. Okay, applying media queries to a style sheet. Mobile first principle is one which overall page design starts with base styles that apply to all devices, followed by style rules specific to mobile devices. So you start out with kind of a generic, and then you start narrowing it down. Tablet styles are applied when the screen width is 481 pixels or greater. Should you always do a tablet style if your pixels are 481 in width or greater? I don't know. Do you have any monitor where you can set 481 for the pixels in width? Is there? I think on this one, let's see, where's it at? Display settings, personalized. Personalized, I think. Or maybe not, maybe the other one. Usually the smallest is 800. So if you're checking that, question is, does it pick up every desktop if you do that check? What are they doing? Are they saying necessarily greater than the 450 or whatever? They're doing a range, aren't they? So they're saying greater than this and less than this type of deal. They do have a greater than when you got something real huge, but okay. Desktop styles build upon tablet styles when the screen width exceeds 768. Again, usually 800 is kind of the starting place. Probably if you got a really old computer, you might be able to get, used to be a 640 by 480, I think. As the screen width increases, more features found in smaller devices are added or replaced. Um, Media only screen. Does that look familiar? Isn't that what Envision's doing? Media only screen. So again, they're designing their website such that somebody who has visual impairment can see it. So they're using the same features that you see in here. I can't really demonstrate it because I can't bring this up on a device and show it to you. My question is what in the world is this doing? Greater than or equal to 1,750. I don't know. Okay, this talks about with a maximum width of 480. Here's one with a minimum width of 481. Minimum width 769, so forth. Now, web pages are viewed within a window called the viewport. Mobile devices have two types of viewports. Your visual viewport displays web page content fits within a mobile screen, and your layout viewport contains the entire content of the page, some of which may be hidden from the user. Is everything on the app for Kali? No. So sometimes I'll bring up the entire web page and end up scrolling back and forth and resizing and so forth because I need to access it when I'm away from home. Here it's talking about setting the properties of the viewport. You see meta name viewport content is equal to width dash device dash width. And initial scale is this. It says sets width of the layout viewport to the width of the device. No viewport there. But here's a viewport. So they have that programmed in there. Who's probably a major customer of Envision? Visually impaired people? Do a lot of visually impaired people come to college? I read a research on this at one point in time. A lot of them don't. People that have trouble seeing do. But if you look at somebody who's blind, imagine closing your eyes and doing some of those harder problems in college algebra. You think you could do it? No, it becomes a challenge. I talked to one individual that was totally blind at Wichita State. That was one of my graduate courses, and he had a special tablet that he had used to write on, and that helped him to work the mathematics. Um, Probably not cheap though, was it? So yeah, a lot of people, they have vision gone like that. They can't pass certain classes. They got good memories. There's nothing wrong with anything upstairs. They just to do like those college algebra. It's a struggle for some people to get through college algebra. If you're blind and you kind of like working all the problems in your head, then that's different altogether. So yeah, in Vision, their main customer base is visually impaired people. So you'll find probably in their site more of these elements than anybody in terms of the controlling the size and so forth. Okay. Prevents the submenu order unordered list from being displayed. So you got display none. And submenu lists are hidden. So this is creating a pull down menu with CSS. The following selector can be used to select a submenu that is immediately preceded by a hovered submenu title. In order to keep the submenu visible as the pointer moves away from the title and hovers over the now visible submenu, use the following. Make a submenu visible, change the display property to back to block using the following style rules. Now, testing your mobile website. There's an Android SDK. SDK always stands for Software Development Kit. It's kind of a definition you should know because somebody will ask you, have you looked at the SDK? And you want to know what they mean, what they're talking about. Anything worthwhile gives you a software development kit. It's little codes you can write, add in sometimes entire programs. They got the Java software development kit. You can write Java programs. Why are you going to edit configuration? You're still in the build. I'm not giving you the chance to. This is a Nexus 6 API 27. It's not the newest version. Newest doesn't work quite right. Did I click it? It's not very fast, so I might have clicked it. Maybe I didn't. Oh, there it goes. This was an app we created yesterday in class. But you got the same functionality as your cell phone, limited. Um, so you got a little browser you can run. You can go into browser on here. You can see what it looks like. Now, I don't think this will work, but we'll try it. Maybe it will. Cali.edu. Yeah, I guess it does work. So that makes me wonder how I could have designed web pages and show it on in class on here. So, Envision Us. Envisionus.com, I think was the name of it. See how they have this drop down here? Brings up our menu we can choose. You can donate. So they've put some effort into it, haven't they? I don't know why that doesn't scroll, unless that's all there is. There it goes. Use my arrow keys. So, anyway, that's what they're talking about. What comes with these software development kits often is the emulator. So you can test. You can test it on iOS. For an iPhone and so forth, emulator is fantastic. It comes up fast. It's just very functional. Here's some other ones. Everybody use Opera browser? Probably never even heard of it. Opera.com developer. I don't see a software development kit out here. Sometimes you only have a developer browser. It allows you to do extra items. And if I remember right, IE, there's a way to switch it to a developer browser. We'll see that later on because you'll need that. Assuming I got the right browser. IE switching to developer browser mode. Like I say, I'm not sure if it's IE or not, but there's ways to switch back and forth between them. So if you're going to develop on a IE, like we're going to do, and Chrome, then maybe you want to switch them over so you have additional tools. So some of these may not be software development kits, as more of just it comes built in with the Opera browser. Opera browser is very minimal amount of memory it uses. Some people claim that Google Chrome listens to you. Have you ever heard of that? And it records that. You think IE and all those are probably even better? Is Microsoft real pure about that? They respect your privacy? No, they don't care, right? That's why some people go to these other browsers, to get around that. Maybe you don't want the aside element for mobile devices. So you say display none. So display : none will get rid of that. Pull down menus. We looked at that with that Envision Us website. Remember how it was a menu there? So in some way you want to have menus. I don't think I have. Let me go to Cali. Do we have a pull down menu of some sort? It's these lines, right? So it pulls that down. So you don't need those on a regular browser, do you? Okay. This talks about the difference between a mobile and desktop design. Okay, a flexible box or Flexbox is a box containing items whose sizes can shrink or grow to match the boundaries of the box. Again, because you don't know what size device they're going to have in their hands when they're accessing your website. Items within a Flexbox are laid out along a main axis. The main axis can point in either the horizontal or vertical direction, and cross axis is perpendicular to the main axis used to define the height or width of each item. Here would be an example of a Flexbox. And you see you can have all kinds of different configurations. To define an element as a Flexbox, apply either the following display styles: display : flex or display : inline dash flex, where a value of flex starts a Flexbox on a new line, the value of inline flex keeps the Flexbox in line with its surrounding contents. Cross-browser Flexboxes. The complete list of browser extensions that define a Flexbox is defined as these right here. By default, Flexbox items are arranged horizontally starting from the left and moving to the right. Orientation of Flexbox can change using flex direction, : direction. The direction is row, column reverse, or column reverse. Row option in the flex direction lays out flex items from left to right. Column creates a vertical layout starting from the top, moving downward. Row reverse and column reverse options in the flex direction layout the items bottom to top and right to left, respectively. Flex items try to fit within a single line, either horizontally or vertically. Flex items can wrap to a new line using the following property. There's a wrap reverse. This shows some layouts. This is a FlexFill row wrap. And this is a FlexFill column wrap. Again, the whole idea on this is that you cannot assume that what your browser is going to look like on different devices. Here's a Nexus 4. Looks like this. I forget what somebody got us stuck on the other day. Here's like the newest version. Nexus 10. 2560 by 1600. Is that quite a bit of resolution? What's fine resolution like that going to give you on a phone? The what? See, I think it'd look better, but I don't know. The higher your resolution when you upload to YouTube, the better it looks. Now this is in fur constraints. Look what this looks like. Does that look good? No. My text boxes are over here, and I'm 2/3 of the way over. My button's over here, and then my answers are right here. This looked perfectly fine on the Nexus 4. This is one we tested, looked good and everything. But when you run it on a different device, it can look like crap. And that's the challenging part. Is figuring out how to have this designed so it looks good, relatively good on anything. I'm guessing if I delete the constraints and affirm again, it's still not going to look good. Let's see. That's going really fast right now. I'm not going to infer constraints. I don't usually have everything like this running when I'm teaching the class. Setting the flex basis, that goes through that. I decided when I saw what chapter it was, I wasn't going to put any project out on this. I'll just put the test out for the other book, and that'll be what we'll have for the week. A lot of this doesn't make much sense unless you have some kind of emulator for it. And now, if you're going into web design, that's your goal for your career, you should become pretty comfortable with all this. So, if you're just going into IT and want to be a programmer or work with networking or things like that, then don't get really hung up on this. The follow style rule creates a layout for a navigation list, which each item is assigned to an equal size and grows at the same rate. They give you an example whether you're laid out this way, or this way. It's got 300 here, 300 here, 300 here, 250 here, 250 here. Then this is 500. Rate at which flex. Has anybody got a smartphone? Everybody?
Yeah.
How many of you got smartwatches? Really, got one? Okay. How about smart glasses?
Not yet.
Yeah. As they come up with more and more of these devices, and I know nothing about the smart glasses, but a smart watch, you got a smaller display even than before? Yeah, it's smaller than your phone, isn't it? I'm assuming. Glasses, will they even be a smaller display? Yeah, I'm guessing. What if it's the same size as your watch? It would take up one entire side here, wouldn't it? So, you're going to see that they're shrinking more and more. Are there smart pens? Smart pens for weed without nicotine. Maybe I don't know what a smart pen is. Smart remote controls. Where are they going to stop at when they have different displays? Okay, flex property syntax for that is that grow, shrink, basis. Grow defines the growth of it. Shrink is how much shrinks. Basis is just its initial. Let's see. We got our auto, initial, none, inherit. Not too exciting. Here's how you do it. Whether you're doing it in a separate CSS file or within a HTML document in the header section. You got your header, footer, width is 100%. Displays a header and footer at a width of 100%, occupying an entire row. You got your side element here, so forth. Now here is an example. Here's their main web page under like a widescreen, a desktop view. Here's where it's under a narrow screen, maybe a tablet of some sort. Now notice how it's laid everything out. Um, it's got schedule here, and then it's got pre-K right underneath it. So, does it still look good? Yeah, so it looks decent, doesn't it? The reorder page content with Flexboxes. The Flexbox model allows you to place the Flex items in any order using the following order property: order, colon, and value. Places the side element before the body footer. Um, places the body order at the end of the Flexbox. Oh, look what infer constraints did. Put everything up in the upper left-hand corner. That's even worse, isn't it? Again, everything is designed around reference to something else. Reference to the size that you want them to be, and then it'll split it up accordingly. It'll grow, shrink. This is supposed to be designed such that it'll shrink or grow. And I obviously can't even grab them. That's bad. Oh well, I'm not gonna say that. Let's see, item items on main axis. Not too exciting. Creating a Navicon menu. Navicon is used to indicate the presence of hidden navigation menus in mobile websites. Navicon is a symbol represented as 3 horizontal lines. When a user hovers or touches the Navicon, the navigation menu is revealed. So you got a drop-down menu, right? Here's where you put your image, TV tf underscore navicon.png, and then you have your menu items here. Wonder how that works. You ever go to a website and you print it off and it looks horrible? And then you wish there was a way around it. So this allows it. Allows you to configure the style sheet for that. Usually what happens is I go to print it, and like the left-hand side will encompass a good part of the page, and then what's inside will be in a box. And since it's enclosed in that box, part of the code doesn't show. Working with the add to page rule, every printed page in CSS defined as a page box. Page box is composed of 2 areas: page area, margin area. There's the style rules at page. How many of you print from your phone? Nobody? Can you print from your phone? Can you? I never have tried. Is there what? Yeah. So I could set up my phone to print that print over there, assuming it had the Wi-Fi part in there. Okay, the following size property allows web authors to define dimensions of a printed page. How many people print from their phone, though? Is there a lot, you think? Okay. See, I would assume there wouldn't be very many, but I'd probably be wrong. Page pseudo class. Page name. Can't really show you this because, again, it's meant for when you actually print, not for what appears on the screen. This says formatting printed hypertext links. You got your A, then color black, text decoration, then none. Why do you think you might need to do the color black? Do your hypertext links look different than anything else? Yeah, you don't think. If I add on to my example here, if I click that, maybe. What did I type in wrong? Ahref, mouse deals, target equals new, click here. Unless I already got new open. Oh, HTTP // So now if I go back, what happened to the color? Changed from blue to purple or gray or whatever that is. So maybe you want to control the printing color. So this is where you can tell it to print in black. Adds a real hypertext link in a bold font. So working with page breaks. Screens, you don't have to worry about this, but printers you do, don't you? So if you want to force a page break, so you do page break before or page break after. So you can have, if you're printing each state on its own page, then you could do that. Now left, right, auto, inherit. Prevent page breaks. Page breaks can be prevented by using the keyword avoid in a page break after or page break before properties. For example, the following style rules prevents page breaks from being added after any heading. Working with widows and orphans, page breaks within block elements such as paragraphs often leave behind windows and orphans. A widow is a fragment of text left dangling at the top of a page. An orphan is a text fragment left at the bottom of the page. And you can control the size of the widows and orphans. Where values the number of lines that must appear within the element before a page break can be inserted by a printer. That's it. Again, I know not too exciting on that. We'll eventually get into the more of the coding side, so it'll be more entertaining, and you'll learn actual programming constructs. We'll go ahead and stop the recording there.